and welcome to our Zodiac season initiation series. To kick off Aquarius season, we are bringing in the planetary ruler, Uranus. So here we call this session Uranus Unleashed, not Uranus Unleashed. Some of you got a kick out of that. We're like fifth graders here. It's fine. Let's laugh. Today will be a laughing day. Today will be a fun day. Just to orient you with the planets, Uranus is one of the gas giants. Here we can see Uranus here. It's got rings like Saturn, only these rings are vertical. Doesn't look like that in this picture, but they're vertical. Vertical rings. So tell us a little bit about Uranus, Bella.
Yay! It's the energy of awakening, sudden change, and how we invent and innovate. And already here, like Ashley just mentioned, you can see the rings are vertical. It has a lot to do with this vertical energy of awakening, this vertical energy of our chakra pillar, and our awakening into the wholeness of what we are and our uniqueness and where we can go and what we can be in the world.
Mm-hmm. So let's find it in your human design chart. First and foremost, you're going to want to know what your Uranus activation is. Go ahead and check out your personality side. Remember, that's the black side and almost the last activation. So 3 up from the bottom, you're going to find Uranus. And here is the glyph for it. And just take note of that because we're going to go into your personal activation and help you unpack and uncover what does it mean to have a Uranus activation in this particular gate, in this particular house, or this particular zodiac sign. But for now, you have the number, and I would definitely take the time to maybe have a piece of paper in front of you. And if any insights come in or you're resonating with something, write it on the paper because it might give you little clues into unpacking this activation for yourself. So once you find that activation, go ahead and find the name of the archetype on this list, and then you can put it in the chat and share with us if you'd like. Mine is the idealist. Bella's is the Black Panther. And then to give you an overview of Aquarius season, because remember, Uranus is the planetary ruler of the season. The whole intention of this call is to kick off Aquarius season and to first and foremost get you acquainted with Uranus as a planet, and then how maybe that impacts you personally through your Uranus activation. Aquarius is from January 20th to February 18th. The polarity of this season is masculine or positive. It's a fixed air sign. It's in the quarter of integration of self with society, one of the last quarter. And the ruler, like I said, is Uranus. The house that corresponds to Aquarius season is the 11th. It's a transpersonal perspective. And here, the power of Aquarius is that they are independent, they're visionaries, they're analytical, they're innovative and open-minded. But some of the pitfalls can include that they can be self-righteous, stubborn, detached, unpredictable, inconsistent. Okay. Let's orient with the archetypes that are going to be present during this season. So we've got the Magician, archetype 60, the Originator, which also kicks off the Rave New Year. That's the 41. The Utarian, the 19. The Confidant, the 13. The Revolutionary, the 49. And the Firestarter, 30. Bella, did you want to share this description from the 64 keys?
Yeah, so renewal. This is the aspect of your personality that demands individuality and freedom. Here, you should not adapt yourself to what is conventional, but move toward completely new and individual paths, as this is your contribution to renewing the world.
So your Uranus activation is about renewal, individuality, and freedom. And then I want to give you a little bit of background on the glyph. So the first part of this is just giving you background. It's just giving you the foundation. Then we'll go into some aspects of Uranus that could be helpful for you. So the glyph of Uranus is made up of 2 crescents of receptivity on either side. of the cross of matter, which is on top of the circle of spirit. There's a lot going on with this glyph of Uranus. Usually they don't have as much of these elements going on. The two crescents indicate left brain and right brain perceptions, rapid intuition, and antennas or radars picking up signals from far and wide. This information is grounded through the cross of matter to bring a new refocused energy to the circle of spirit. This glyph also resembles the letter H for the initial of Herschel, who discovered Uranus. And this comes from evolutionary astrology. And Bella's going to bring in the evolutionary intent of Uranus.
The evolutionary intent for this planet is to liberate the soul from conditions that limit its total individuated nature, to break free and go beyond all that was ever known or experienced before.
Now let's take a moment to talk about the discovery. Woo, the discovery of Uranus. Who discovered it? William Herschel discovered it on March 13th, 1781. And this is a planet that we cannot see with our naked eye, so it does require a telescope. And Herschel said, "I've looked further into space than ever human being did before me. I have observed stars of which the light, it can be proved, must take 2 million years to reach Earth." I think he's proud of himself. Good job, Herschel. Oh, all right. Well, let's get into some of this Uranus stuff. Bella, you want to speak for a moment on this?
Well, the first thing I was thinking about March 13th is on the cusp between Gene Key 22 and Gene Key 36 in the sun. So it was the invitation to that kind of bigger perspective with the 22, the invitation to grace with whatever was like opening for us. And then also the storm, which goes together with the sudden shocks and to be in a whirlwind of not really knowing. And also we don't know where it ends, because what changed was our worldview. We thought that everything was ending with Saturn, Kronos. That's how far our solar system is going. That's how far we knew the universe. And suddenly we realized that's not where it ends. There's so much more. So in human design, this is where we are becoming this being that has so many more layers than what we even had time to live before. So we have a cycle around the sun with Uranus that is 84 years. And that became our lifespan because of a lot of those improvements that had us live longer. So before Uranus was discovered, a lot of us lived around 30 years, which is a Saturnian cycle. And here suddenly, with all what it is to be human, we had the time to live much more and to have more quantum leaps in our life and to have more sudden shocks that lead to evolution. So this planet is coming in, and in human design is also where we're going from being the seven-centered being that is living from the awareness center, which is the spleen, and living by fear. It's making decisions by fear, and it's outsourcing a lot of its authority to the mind, whether that's its own mind, but even more to kings and politicians and people to decide. So outside authority, fear driven, into coming into a way more internal authority, which has to do with the third awareness center, which is the emotional center. So the ninth center being is developing the emotional center so that the emotional center also becomes a compass in how we can live. So we have three centers. We have the spleen, we have the ajna, and we have the emotional center. And we're more receptive. So it's not about plotting our life path. It's not about thinking that we know. Really, what happened with this discovery is that we don't know where it ends. We don't really know where we are in the geometry. We can only just tune into our own core, our own electricity, our own uniqueness, our own body, and allow it to show us the way. And that's where the leap from the seventh center to the nine-centered being is. Also having this much time to discover much more than just being born, becoming an adult, having children so that everything can continue. No, it's way more that we can do in the 84 years in average that we have on this planet. And we can add to that evolution of consciousness within a lifetime. So we don't have to come back and almost have no time to do it again, but we have quite a lot of time every time.
We have much longer to discover what our purpose and role is besides perpetuating the species, because in a way we're maturing and then getting to the age where we can bear children, like Bella said, have those children, perpetuate the species. So there's innovations happening that prolong our life, that prolong our the luxury of time to then allow us to discover, wow, I've got a lot of time. I can really feel into what's my genius? What do I want to put in the world? What is my innovation? And when you find yourself in a way also stuck in a pattern or a rut, or you're like in a continuous cycle, Uranus is going to come in to shock you anyways. A lot of people tend to have midlife crises when they have that Uranus opposition that shows up midlife. And they're like, let me buy a sports car. Let me do this. Let me do that. So here we have opportunities throughout our life, not just that midlife crisis, where Uranus is going to come in to shock us so that we can have those leaps, so that we can expand. Because we expanded our perception, we expanded what we knew of the universe by discovering Uranus. And in so, we also had the Industrial Revolution. We had so many advancements in technology, in the infrastructure, in the support structures for the community and hospitals and education. Like, so much happened during that time. Not just because, oh, Uranus is discovered, so now we can innovate. Like, oh, no, but it brought that energy because now we had awareness of that energy. And that's why systems like the Gene Keys, Human Design, they're so powerful because they name the energy. You have awareness of the energy, and then it starts transforming at a cellular level. And we start manifesting things at a physical level because now we have awareness where before we didn't. And this is what Uranus says. I'll change your reality in the snap of a finger. Oh my. They're excited.
They say there is an astrologer that wanted to convey what Uranus was about, and that apparently when there was a conjunction with his life's work or his sun and Uranus, that day his house was burned. And he was like, he was more just happy saying, this is the proof, this is what I said, it's going to be sudden change, accidents, explosions. That's what happens when Uranus is conjuncting with something important in your chart, or in something important like also in the collective chart. So yeah, it's here to create those accidents that maybe in the moment we feel shocked and we feel like something broke, but from the cracks or from whatever was falling apart in that, there is something completely new that can come out, and that is leading to a faster evolution. That's leading to the future.
Mm-hmm. Yes. It's a hard knock life for us. For us, like as a humanity, because Pluto just transitioned into Aquarius. Yay, it's out of Capricorn, but now it's in Aquarius. So for those of you who have a lot of Aquarian activations, or maybe you're an Aquarius, put on your seatbelts because you're going into transformation and rebirth until 2043. So yay for you. Yeah, I'm just glad that it's not on my ascendant anymore. But it's going to bring a lot of powerful things in terms of like community and revolutions. Who knows what's going to happen for humanity or the United States? We might have a revolutionary war again. I don't know. I can't say. If many people decide that this is not the direction and way we want to go, then they're going to quote unquote rebel and bring us into a direction that might benefit the totality, benefit humanity. And maybe those of you will be shocked into a realization of what you're here to bring revolution to. What is your personal revolution and initiative? How are you changing the world? Kind of no pressure.
And
no
also
pressure
the
there.
other thing I feel is important with what you just said, when things are coming into Pluto that has to do with our unconscious and the things that we haven't brought up yet, I believe that part of this too is to look at transformation and rebirth and reevaluate it. So however new age or church or whatever things we have used before for transformation and rebirth is to look at this and see, okay, how are we going to do it now? What does it mean now? The same thing that when Pluto was in Capricorn for the last 16 years, we're looking at the structures that we have built, the tangible things, and we were evaluating as well if they serve or don't serve anymore, if they need to die and come back in a different way. So also look at some of the ways that you have lived out your uniqueness. Look at some of the way that you have rebelled. Look even at transformation itself and see, okay, what is wanting to come through, what is wanting to be showed now and over the next 20 years, like I should say. So it's a little bit of a longer time even that we're going to have Pluto in Aquarius. And there's also going to be a chance in September this year. We have a short passage where we are going to have Pluto going back into Capricorn. So there might be something that you still need to revisit when it comes to the Earth energy, the Capricornian energy, the structures that you have built and maybe turned down. So we have one little peek back again if we need to. And then it's just continuing for 20 years in Aquarius.
Mm-hmm. There's always an opportunity to go back to see what did I forget, because we're not completely ditching that. We're bringing with us what we've learned in that period in time as well. Oh,
yeah. So I guess I'll do this so that I can.
That's funny because I just fixed the one that was on there, but it wasn't the current neutrino weather. So this is perfect.
Yes. So just for you to orient again, this is right now, this chart. This is the sky right now with the zodiac signs and then the planets. And of course, this is not exact. This is the tropical zodiac. So this is like a model of where we have the planets on the sky and where they are based on the spring equinox where Aries starts, that we say is the same date every single year. So looking at this chart right now, what we can see is that we have Pluto in Aquarius, and that's what we were speaking about. So Pluto has been in Capricorn for 16 years, and it was hanging out here with the other planets until 4 days ago. And then together with the sun, they went together the same time, the same day they went into Aquarius together. And that is, like we said, that is big. And then the other thing that is important in this chart is that we are going to have a conjunction in Taurus between Jupiter, who's now hanging out in the beginning of Taurus, with Uranus, that is hanging out here in the 23. And that is going direct after the full moon tomorrow on the 27th. So it's the only planet that is retrograde right now. It's going to go direct from the view of Earth, continuing here into Gemini later this year. And that is when every year all the energy is forward moving. So every year we're going to have a certain period of time where all the planets are direct. And that's where we want to set in movement these things that we want for that year, because then as soon as something goes retrograde again, that's when we are going to feel again a little bit of that limitation. So it's starting with a full moon, burn everything that is not conducive to your leadership. We're going to have this full moon when we have the moon becoming opposite the sun tomorrow in gate 31 in Leo. So visionary leadership is what we have here. Full moon, burn anything, culmination that is not conducive to that. And then after that, we have Uranus going direct, and we have Jupiter coming into conjunction with Uranus in Taurus. This is on April 20th. So this is happening in 2 months. We're going to have the North Node and Chiron and two other planets. I believe it's going to be Venus and Mercury. They're going to be in the gate of shock. Aries is the individual unique impulse, that where you start. So gate of shock. And then we're going to have Uranus, that we just spoke to you about what it is about, being illuminated by Jupiter that expands everything. So these coming months now are really, really big. And they are speaking about this same energy of Pluto going out of Capricorn, some of the structures, some of the foundations, some of how we build things. Well, now it's in Taurus. So it's also about the foundation. But here's more about the personal foundation. Here's more about your own way of complicating your life or simplifying your life, your way of valuing yourself or not valuing yourself, your way of knowing your talents and how to share them uniquely in the world, to initiate things, to awaken things. And those are the themes that are here. So you have 2 months to kind of figure out, what is my unique spark? What are my talents? How can I simplify my life? How can I make sure that my foundation is built on self-worth and knowing who I am in the world? So I believe that the rest of this webinar, you can tune into these things. The last thing I'm going to say about the current transits is that the only channel that is activated right now, but also activating the Rave New Year chart, which is 3 days ago when we started a new Rave year, it's 5710. And that is also about self-empowerment, is about your naturalness, you being you in the world, knowing who you are, knowing what love is, knowing where you're going, and trusting your intuition. This is the main focus. They're going to stay there for the whole entire year. This is where we're initiating from. This is where we are coming from as we are going into our, embodying or stepping more into our leadership. And we have this North Node in the Rave New Year chart, which is about your unique initiative. And that's for all of us. The trajectory is to tune in more to that Aries energy, that warrior energy, that knowing this is my spark, this is my passion, this is where I'm going, and I'll apologize later if I have to. So all this goes very much aligned with the energy of Uranus, the energy of Aquarius, the energy of going forward, and see who comes with you. And we're going to see some more examples of Uranus in the coming slides.
Yes. Oh, yes, this is what you just did. Ice, ice, baby. Dung, 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 dung. You got a lot of songs coming through with Uranus. Uranus is frozen and distant. And Uranus says, I could care less about the mundane things.
Yeah, so frozen and distant, that is because it's very far away in the solar system. It's basically frozen gas, and we can't even see it with the naked eye. So yeah, very cold, very distant. And it doesn't care about our little mundane personal problems. It's very transpersonal, and it cares about what's possible. It cares about where we're going, what are we as a movement, who is with us in that movement. So it's really not very emotional. It's quite on its mission, and that's what it cares about.
Yes. So Uranus is actually minus 320 degrees Fahrenheit or negative 195 Celsius. So this is very, very cold. That and Neptune, they're both called ice giants. They're the coldest planets in the solar system. So I think that just goes along with, it's only going to be excited and alive for the causes that feel like it can make a change, it can have impact, it's going to move the collective, not some little tiny detail that doesn't really matter. It's not down for like the basic stuff. It's here for the collective. It's here for those things that are going to make a shift in the right direction. And when we say in the right direction, Aquarius can be a little bit arrogant in that sense of it knows where the right direction is. And it's going that way, and you're stupid if you don't follow, but it's okay. You don't have to follow. I have other weirdos that will come with me. And Bella mentioned this previously, but with the discovery of Uranus, we were also having a shift, an evolutionary shift. We moved from being 7 chakrad beings to 9 centered beings. So instead of having those 7 chakras, we now have 9 centers. And she spoke briefly to this, right? Root center, root chakra, sacral center, sacral chakra, solar plexus center right here, spleen. These are the ones that split. Either side of the body came into 2. And then we've got the heart center or the will center and the G, and those ones split. Then we still have the throat chakra or the throat center, the ajna or third eye, and the crown, aka the crown chakra.
Yeah, and for the overview here, or for the summary, we went from being strategic beings based on fear. So trying to plot life, trying to have the strongest king or the strongest leader of the tribe, and basing everything out on strategy to survive. And then we are becoming receptive beings. And it's more about this inner alignment and being in resonance inside first, and trusting life, surrendering to life, and going from trusting the mind to coming back into the body and allowing the 3 awareness centers, the spleen, the emotional center, the ajna, to guide us forward and showing the way where we respond to life from our inner authority. So the outer authority of giving it away to somebody strong on the outside is not here for us anymore. And the last thing with this, I would say, has to do a little bit with that coldness. That part of what's also happening is that we're waking up to the circulation of energy through our chakra pillar, so that we can feel this spinal nerve, or this kind of a little bit of this cold energy that we can circulate inside of our body, which looks a bit like the rings on Uranus as well. And we are here to be able to use the life force or the fuel that are in the lower chakras, in the root and the sacral chakra, to come through the whole chakra pillar, so that we open our third eye, so that we get that 6-line perspective, because we're here to walk into the future, which is a 6-line future. When we look at the mathematics or calculations of 2027, it's a 6-line reality. Now, right now, we're in a 1st-line reality. And that's when we need to have our third eye and to balance the left and the right hemisphere. And we're being receptive, but still our strategic mind, our left brain is still there, helping us labeling things and understanding things and organizing things. So a lot of this energy that comes from Uranus is an electric energy that has to do with our own nervous system, and probably also the healing of the nervous system, with the imprint from all the hundreds and thousands of years of where we were fear-based, and all the imprint of everything that happened, the terror of having your own tribe eradicated, and all the things that were there in the war and the violations and the aggressiveness and the colonizations and all these things. We are healing through coming back to our core and allowing our vessel, our body, to heal, because it's self-healing.
Another song. Ooh, he's a rebel. Let's see how. Why be normal? I've got 27 moons and spin on my side. Show you, Saturn.
I love this quote. I love it. If I would be a planet, I would be this planet.
Isn't your sun in the 11th house?
My sun is in the 11th house. My radiance, which is the sun on the design side, is Aquarius. And my midheaven is also Aquarius. So yeah,
well, both of your suns, they've got correspondence to this energy. It's like, yep, this is how we shine.
Yeah, and we'll go into that, you and I too, when we speak a bit about the houses, because even there you can see some of why this is such a prevalent energy for me.
Oh, Uranus, why be normal? So also look at your Uranus activation. This is where you're going to bring out your uniqueness, your revolution. Get little hints and breadcrumbs during this session. Like, what is your revolution? How is this archetype that you have in your Uranus activation helping inform you of your personal revolution? That's for you or for the collective. I don't know what line you have, or I don't know how transpersonal you are. I'm not saying you're going to save the world, but every revolution matters. Every individual unique being expressing their freak in the world is healing. We're moving from homogenization to individuation, and this is your individuation journey. So this will help you on the path. Then it can stop shocking you. Just kidding, it will still shock you. All right. Yeah, this rebellion energy will have you questioning authority as well as the status quo, because it is all about that uniqueness and that rebellion. You're going to have to question where others tell you and put limitations on you. Like, where are the limitations? Is this structure good for us, or is it detrimental? Because I don't think that Uranus is really saying, let's rebel against everything and no structure, no rules. It's just like, is this conducive for our individuality, or is this like limiting us in any way? Because remember, Uranus is about freedom as well. We saw freedom and individuality. And if we have rules and structures that limit our freedom and individuality, it's not going to be about that.
And also, it's not afraid of chaos. Because if we go back to Saturn is like, oh, whatever the cost is, let's not have chaos. Let's build structures that are strong so that we know what the next step is. Even if it's slow, let's make sure that it's safe and that we can trust that we're not going to go into chaos. And here with all this gas, and it's not afraid of chaos, and it knows that the new order comes from chaos. And I feel that's an important thing to remember about this energy.
So let's ask the question, who's coming with me? And if you don't want to come with me, then I'll go at it alone.
So that goes back to not being very emotional. It's not like, oh, you're not coming with me. Okay, then I'm going to cry. because I don't want to do it myself. That's not the energy whatsoever here. It's knowing it's fixed air, it's knowing its ideas, it's knowing its mission, it's going for it, and it's not going to cry who doesn't come, because then it's not your allies, then they're not your peeps. If they don't come, you go it alone, and you're just knowing that the people that resonate would come, because you can feel inside of this energy the knowing that this is a movement, this is something that's going to be big. So it starts with a little snowball, and then it goes down and it becomes this big iceberg, maybe even that is the stepping stone to something completely new, and a completely new way of being and of doing in the world.
Which comes to that idea of doing things for the greater good. It's not an individual planet. It's not an individual season. Aquarius season, remember, is in the very last quarter of the astrological wheel. It's integration with the collective, with community, and it is very transpersonal. So it will sacrifice itself for the collective. So like Bella was alluding to or asking in a way were these questions. Do you want to ask these questions?
Yeah, so the first question is, what more is possible for us? And at this level, I would say that Aquarius is still thinking about what's close to it. So it's like, if we are a group of people, Aquarius or Uranus would ask, what more is possible for us? What can we do here and now? How can we change this? How can we go against, or like, how can we forget about the rules that are there and see what more is possible? And then through that, what happens is, can we role model a better way for society, the world, humanity? And this is very much connected to the 6 lines. There's a little bit advanced. I'm just going to spend less than 2 minutes on it. But if we think about where we are in the wheel, we are here in the very last part of the wheel. We have Aquarius and Pisces, and the ruler of Aquarius is Uranus. So we are here in that energy, and that is the last part of the wheel. So it's the 6th line. If there are 12 signs, that's corresponding to the last line of the hexagram, because these are processes. We start with the foundation, we start with the individual, Aries, Taurus, or the first line, and we end up with Aquarius and Pisces and their rulers in the 6th line. So we could say that this is the masculine or positive or penetrating energy of the 6th line. What is the 6th line in human design? The 6th line is about role modeling. But it comes from walking your talk. It comes from knowing the truth on a cellular level first before you can go out and role model. So that's the question. What's more is possible when I'm feeling this truth on a cellular level, when I'm feeling this movement inside of me that seems to also inspire others. And that's what we are here. We're in that penetrating energy, the fixed forward movement of the 6th line that says, I know that I'm the bridge to the future. I know that I can feel where we're going. And that's what this planet and this sign is opening the door for us.
Open the door. So come back to your Uranus activation. If you have the genetic matrix chart that is the quantum HD astro chart, you're going to be able to see what house is my Uranus in, what sign is my Uranus in. If you look at the genetic matrix natal chart, it's gonna show you the same thing too. So I definitely want to have that. Maybe Bella can pop our link in the chat if you don't have it. Otherwise, you can get it later, or you may be able to figure this out on your regular astrology wheel. You just know that the gate you're getting from your human design chart. But I definitely recommend you having the right charts for this. So we're going to go through Uranus and the zodiac signs. So there's 12 of them. We'll take a little bit of time to go through that. So let's start with the signs, and we'll start with Aries. It's the first sign. So if you've got Uranus in Aries, the way that you're innovating is through leadership, courage, and personal freedom. And let us know if you resonate. Like, does this resonate when you find this out? And I'll read this side, and Bella will read the other side. If you have Uranus in Taurus, the way you're innovating is through resources, structures, and environmentalism. How does this correlate to your revolution? If you have Uranus in Gemini, you're innovating through communication, curiosity, and maybe media. And then if you're innovating with a Cancer Uranus, it's through conventionality, sensitivity, and in some ways tradition. A Leo would innovate through creativity, pleasure, and self-expression. Someone who has Uranus in Virgo is going to innovate through health, wellness, and systems. Oh, just kidding. I'm going to go through all of them because this one's going to have all of them. The next slide's only going to have half. Sorry about that. Bella, did you want to go into these last half?
Yeah. I'm
Okay.
seeing what people are saying in the chat, and I'm
Okay.
putting the right link and blah blah blah. Sure. Yeah. So, like Ashley said, you don't have to have the charts that I just put in the link, but it's cool to have everything in the same chart. Actually, with this, you just need to do a free chart on any kind of astrology site. So let's go through, the last signs here for the signs. Oh, you didn't read the Libra
I didn't
one?
do Libra. I stopped at Virgo.
Okay, so if you have Uranus in Libra, then you're innovating through partnerships, diplomacy, and justice. If you have Uranus in Scorpio, you're innovating through metaphysics, psychology, and investigation. Probably. If you have it in Sagittarius, you might be innovating through knowledge, travel, and philosophy. If you have it in Capricorn, you may be innovating through career, business, and authority. And if you have it in Aquarius, you may be innovating through technology, medicine, or humanity. And if you have it in Pisces, it might be through spirituality, compassion, and intuition that you're innovating. So you can see here, going back to learning about foundational astrology, that all the keywords that you see in all these signs are keywords from these signs. So Aries is about courage, freedom, and leadership, right? But then the part here that comes from Uranus is the innovating. So the energy of innovation comes from Uranus, and then it's happening in one of the signs, one of the places, one of the archetypal energies of your chart. So you can see that anything else that is in Aries in your chart is going to be related to this courage and leadership and personal freedom. And then let's just go to the chat because I'll cut this out in whatever replay. So 2 questions in the chat. Well, when it says RX, it means that it's retrograde. So the same thing as I said right now in the transit chart that we looked at, we have Uranus retrograde. And that means that when you were born, from the Earth point of view, Uranus was going backwards. And that means that you have even a more unique way of coming to terms or embodying this planet. It can take a little bit longer time. The shocks can feel a little bit worse, quote unquote, because you have your unique way, not anything to do with the status quo, that already is the energy of Uranus. So Uranus retrograde can create some more electricity, some more shocks, some more sudden changes and accidents, especially early in your life, until you learn to kind of ride this energy and be using it for innovation and using it for the positive change that's possible. And the last question is from Donna. Bella, when you said penetrating masculine Aquarius, how do you then label Pisces? Penetrating feminine? No. So penetrating masculine positive would be the same. That's that pole over here. And then we have the other pole that is receptive, not penetrating, and that is negative in polarity, and that is feminine. So we have those 2 polarities in each. That's the beauty. We have the wheel that have 12 different signs, and each line in the hexagram structure get the feminine and the masculine expression of that line. It's amazing. It's just processes, right? Everything is processes. We're here to be in a process, and right now, thanks to Herschel and Uranus, we have this longer life cycle where we get to discover even further out with Neptune and Pluto and our collective unconscious and all that. So, okay.
Okay. Let's give you the other piece of the puzzle. What about Uranus in the houses? In what place? Where?
So here,
where's this revolution happening? Go ahead.
Yes. No. So here, like Ashley said, where is this revolution happening? And what I wanted to say, because we always get that question, is about the house systems. So in a Locker design, we are using Placidus. One of the reasons for that is that I am born in the north. So where I am born, the way that it looks with Placidus is that I'm going to have some houses that are very small and some that are very big. For me, that feels accurate because I'm not born on the equator. I'm born up north. And I believe that the tilt and the degree makes it so that the sun is not just shining on the equator. Like the geometry for me feels right. And then we have done charts for so many years now, and it really feels for us like Placidus works very well. That doesn't mean that you can't use whole house system or equal house system or kosh or cock. I don't know even how you say that, or like any of the other ones. You can play with them and use them. If you don't know, Placidus is it's like widely used, and especially for those of you that are born like on many on different places than the equator, there's going to be quite a big difference if you're using Placidus or one of those that are just like making all the houses equal. So you can try and feel into it. Yeah, that's just the pre kind of explanation of the houses. And it can be good because usually it's just going to change one house. So it can be good for you to be like, oh, okay, I know that my Uranus is either in the 3rd house and in the 4th house. And then you read the description. Oh, no. I really resonate more in the 3rd house. Well, then you can look for the other planets and you can probably figure out for you what's the house system that feels more accurate to your life experience in your chart.
Mm-hmm. All right, so let's feel into the accuracy of Uranus and the houses here. So check out and see what house you have Uranus in, not Aquarius, Uranus, just the planet. Where's that planet sitting? And if it's in the 1st house, this is transformation that's going to happen in your self-identity, and it can lead to drastic changes in appearance and personal interactions. There's also an emphasis on moving from pleasing others to embracing and investing in your authentic self. So this is where the shift, the revolution, the transformation is happening in the house of self-identity.
Yeah, so please, if you have it in the 1st house, like just put that you have it in the 1st house, and maybe if you resonate, and then Ashley and I are going to read, like we're going to just switch, I think. So if you have Uranus in the 2nd house, then it is about the reassessment of value systems, particularly conquering material possessions, steering away from societal norms toward what you genuinely is excited by, such as travel and technology.
Ooh. Reassessment of your value system. That's where the shock comes in, because one day it's like this and the next is like, oh, nope, we're going to flip-flop, or this is now what excites me. I'm going to head this way now. 3rd house is going to be a recognition of the importance of your unique communication styles, ideas, and also embracing the role as a free thinker and innovator, even if that's not widely accepted. So the importance of unique communication styles.
Right. So this is your birth chart. We're looking at your birth chart right now, both for the sign and the house. And we want you to see where it is in your birth chart, and then if this energy or this description feels resonant with you. So if in your birth chart you have Uranus in the 4th house, are you resonating with finding peace and emotional stability after chaos, focusing on healing, deeper emotional connections, and breaking negative cycles to create a harmonious home life? And a harmonious home life could also be on the inside, feeling harmonious on the inside, or feeling harmonious with your significant other. It doesn't necessarily have to be the structures of home, especially because it's Uranus. So it's the sense of home here, the sense of groundedness, the sense of safety.
And then when it comes to the 5th house, this is about finding the passion for life, emphasizing fun, creativity, and love. The challenge is to live vibrantly and make clear decisions on personal pleasures and matters like parenthood. I say this because the 5th house does concern that passion, also children, also fun and creativity. 5th house corresponds to Leo. So if you're familiar with Leo, then you can feel that in that 5th house energy. So Uranus is going to help you find the passion for life. It's going to get you to have fun, be creative. Oh, you're not loving life? All right, let's take all the passion away, so then you can find it and be like, I'm not sacrificing this anymore. This is what personal pleasure is for me, and I'm going to shine in that way on the stage of life.
And if you have Uranus in the 6th house in your natal chart, in this lifetime, you will be awakening to psychic abilities and a reevaluation of health and daily routines. And you might have a possible inclination towards alternative medicine and maintaining optimal mental health.
Mm-hmm. In a way, Uranus is gonna shock people in this house with disharmonious health conditions where they're like, I don't really feel well, because the purpose is to get you to dig into it, to make changes, to move towards a healthier and more optimal life. And I think that the psychic senses also get developed because we're looking into things, we're feeling into the body, we're feeling into the form, what's practical, what will help, what's going to aid me to feel better. So we're looking into that to find the solutions and be solution oriented here. Help our routines be great. Then let's move to the next 6. So if you have it in the 7th house, you're going to have revelations about partnerships, leading to a better understanding of personal worth in your relationships and the importance of reciprocal and consistent connections. Shocking you in the realm of partnership and relationships.
Yeah. And maybe you're gonna have some weirder, innovative ways of relating too, if you have it there, because it shakes everything up and it shows what's uniquely right for you.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have it in the 8th house, then there can be a deep exploration of sexuality and profound topics, experiencing significant transformation, embracing psychic abilities, and delving into spiritual and occult realms. So somehow we could say that Uranus is coming in and awakening the energy that's already there. And it can be through shocks, but it can also be through quantum leaps. So everything that we are reading about in each one of the houses, it's pretty much the theme that lives in the house. And knowing that when we have Uranus there, it's going to shake up these themes and have us explore them and work with them in ways that aren't conventional.
Mm-hmm. If you have Uranus in the 9th house, you're going to have epiphanies about life's bigger questions. You'll have a desire to seek knowledge and truth, and encouragement to embrace a reflective nature and challenge conventional thinking. Here, the shocks come in this realm of like higher education and those like philosophy and those bigger topics. Like, why are we here? Who am I? Who are we? Okay, next.
If it's in the 10th house, then you have the realization of the need for autonomy in career choices, rejecting traditional paths of success for careers that allow personal expression and freedom from authority.
Yeah, it wouldn't be traditional. None of these would be traditional if you've got Uranus in these placements. So just look at it from that capacity too. It might be weird. Might be weird in these areas. And you can't compare yourself to even traditional 10th house, 9th house, 8th house, like representations and how it is normally, because this is where you are revolutionizing this energy. So people in the 3rd house are revolutionizing communication. They're going to be communicating in a completely different way, in a weird way, in a way that maybe people don't connect with, but you're bringing them into a new way of connecting. Same thing with relationships, like Bella said, like non-traditional ways of relating and being in partnership. The 11th house is going to indicate that maybe that Uranus activation is going to help you discover the power of uniqueness and the importance of authentic self-expression. You're going to attract like-minded individuals that might reinforce those ideas that you can get together and create revolutions with. And Uranus is also going to help you reinforce the idea that uniqueness is strength, not homogenization. Individuation is the path and uniqueness is a strength.
You can really feel here that human design is a Uranian system, right? Like everything that it says here about uniqueness, and like the 11th house is connected to the 11th sign, which is Aquarius, and the ruler is Uranus. So here, when we look at the 11th house, is Uranus being very much in its home energy and accentuating that energy. And it's very much what we learn through the deconditioning process in human design, that our uniqueness is what's going to lead the way, and it's a strength rather than something that needs to be conditioned away. And then the last house that you can have Uranus in is the 12th house. And if you have it here, you may have revelations about psychic abilities and the significance of the subconscious mind, and gaining insights through intuition and dreams, and exploring realms beyond the physical.
Oh.
So a quantum leaper in the spiritual.
Spiritual quantum leaping. There was a show called Quantum Leap, and I loved it with Sam. It's an old show. It's an old show. Okay. Bella alluded to this earlier. Chaos and order. What can we explore in this with knowing these things about our Uranus activation? Why are we looking into chaos and order?
I believe that the Uranus archetype and the Aquarian archetype is powerful here because it doesn't have a preference. When you have a preference, you become vulnerable because you say, I want this. So you're vulnerable because if you get this, you're not going to be happy. You're going to be disappointed. So the fact that Uranus says, let's explode this, let's do this and see what happens, means that it's not afraid of the chaos. And it's also open to the order, the new order that can emerge. And that's the strength of this planet. It's not attached to the old structures or what was or status quo. Let's throw the dice and see what we get. And then we get to play with it. And we get to have it take us somewhere where we haven't been yet.
Mm. Take us places. So there's a book called Understanding the Planets in Our Design. It was written by Ra and Richard, and they came together to make this book. It's very short.
And I want to whisper here for everybody that was part of our foundations. So here, one more proof that Ra and Richard worked very tightly and everything was fine and beautiful at some point, and that they are serving the transmission together. And they wrote this book that is I love so much. And here is something that actually even me and Ashley discovered or rediscovered as we were preparing the presentation. We had even forgot that we could look at Uranus this way in our chart in terms of the timeline. So yeah, let's go to what they are revealing for us.
I left out some of the things for sake of space, but you can add those in the in-breath, the out-breath. So in the rave chart, Uranus will focus this attraction to chaos upon the theme of a particular gate. You're looking at your Uranus gate right now. So this is your attraction to chaos. Uranus's dance with chaos lasts until the midlife point, after which the chaos is brought to order. So we've got to dance with chaos. And so whatever gate yours in, this is your dance with that chaos. And because you're not afraid to dance with it, and Uranus is not afraid to dance with it, things will be put into order because you're going to realize, oh, this is about self-worth. Oh, this is about individuality. Oh, this is about sexuality and the fact that it's not vanilla for me over here. And even the people that are not vanilla are vanilla for me. I don't understand what's happening here. So what is your revolution? How is this chaos helping you put into order this new way of being? You're bringing order to chaos. It was talking about prana, in-breath, out-breath, Bella.
Yeah, exactly. So that last sentence was in the book. It's Uranus dance with chaos lasts until the midlife point, which is the breathing in of prana. We come into this life, and the first thing we do is we breathe in.
Oh my God.
And then after, as chaos is brought to order and we come into really living this life from our inner authority, that is the moment when we are breathing out life. We're just surrendering, giving ourselves back to life in some ways. In breath up until that Uranus opposition, and out breath, coming out back into the world as we truly are. Individual.
And you're around 40, 42, 44 when you have your Uranus opposition. Okay. We're
And
gonna
this
bring
also very much goes back to with the in-breath and the out-breath, right? It's like this circulation, and the breath has to do with the nervous system. So you could see it as a long in-breath and a long out-breath, but it's also in the microcosm, this continuous vertical circulation that you see in the ring, how we are constantly breathing in and out life and accepting the order and the chaos as we are just following our inner authority, our own uniqueness, our own electricity, as we meet life from that point.
Mm-hmm. So here we'll bring in some of our examples and just give our personal interpretation of our Uranus activations based on the gate, the house, the sign, maybe the line. So this is Bella's 34.4, the Black Panther in Sagittarius in the 6th house.
I mean, can you tell people how I've been creating chaos and havoc in this gate?
What do you mean?
I don't
Okay, so
know.
we've got force and we've got strength and we've got majesty. And well, this is a Sagittarius gate. Remember, Sagittarius said innovation through knowledge, travel, and philosophy. Where is Bella innovating? Human design and Gene Keys. These are systems for higher education, understanding of yourself, of your individuation. Bella, also, why don't you tell us about travel for you? Because it's not normal. I guess maybe nowadays it's normal, but
Yeah, I mean, I started traveling I don't know how many months how many months old I was when my parents went from Sweden to Spain the first time. I think you were almost not allowed to travel with a baby that's that young. So of course, growing up between Spain and Sweden, and then as soon as I was done with my high school, the day after I moved to France, and I was supposed to be away for a semester, and I was away for 6 years. And in those 6 years, I lived 1 year in Puerto Rico, and then I came home, but then I moved to the States, but then I moved back 2 years to Italy, and then I came back to the West Coast instead of the East Coast. So it's very much been travel and living in all these places. And with that 34, which is integration circuitry and self-empowerment, it's like, okay, what jungle are you going to put me in now? Okay, I realize I orient and realize what to do to be empowered with this new culture, with this new way of living. And that is something that for me, the Black Panther loved, and that goes together with that Sagittarius energy of like, oh, a new truth, a new way of doing it, a new philosophy. How can I tune into this? And that's a fire energy. So the fire energy of being in that passion, in that excitement of what's possible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you can see she's got it in the 6th house, which is connected to like health and routines. And with the gate 34 being connected to the sacral center, it is about life force and the power of that life force and how you're using it, utilizing it. And I think over time, as our business has grown and we've gotten busier, and I remember Bella doing things back to back to back earlier. She doesn't do that as much now. And I'm like, how do you even do that? And then I know that part of the rebellion that comes in her is like, I don't want to sit in front of a computer screen. I don't want to have to be still. I want to be in movement or motion. Like she's going to want to move her body or energy in whatever way is going to liberate the life force. And I also remember, Bella, some of your uniqueness too is like when we would have like calls where we would do shaking, you would always go off camera. And I'm like, why do you always go off camera? People need to see you role modeling what you're doing. And you're like, I don't know. Sometimes it intimidates people, or people like see me in a weird way. And like, she just would always go off camera. So that's some of the way that it's like, it's usually in the way that she's like wanting to express her physical body, her power through her body. And this is sixth house, which is routines in everyday life. So in a way, it's like a non-conventional routine of maintaining that power, that life force in the body that most people probably don't do.
Mm-hmm. And if some of you here have it in the 6th house, you can also look at the element. In my case, I've been, like Ashley was saying, it's not hard for me to burn the candle at both ends in my daily life. Like my routine is very fiery, and I could go. So that 34 and that fire energy, I could burn myself. So that's something I have to check in the 6th house in the daily routine. So I don't force and burn myself completely. And also just the way with 2 more things, the way of setting up my life is unconventional, right? Most people at my age would have family and kids to be responsible of. And I'm very far away where I came from, and I'm very free in the way that I can live my life. And I was even saying to Ashley, next year, maybe we can plan it so that we can have like a month or a zodiac sign season off and go off grid, and then we can come back. So we set up even our company so that we can have those adventures and go to faraway land and explore. And the last thing I will say, and this goes to the line, and this is a little bit more sad, I would say that the part of my life that has been the most destabilizing for me and where I've had most of my shocks is in that fourth line energy. When I had a really deep connection with somebody, whether that was intimate with somebody or a friendship or even a business partnership, and when that trust was broken and that heart was like, it felt destroyed, but I realized it's just to crack it more open. But really the shocks in my life were in the broken trust of that fourth line, and that has had me go on my knees so many times, and hopefully in the long run allowing me to come more into that self-empowerment and more into my own majesty, and not maybe sometimes even needing the partnership to be the holding pattern, but to kind of go it alone and say, come with me and we'll see if you have the same excitement. I'm not going to try to make this work out of my own big heart or out of my own generosity or my own charity. So a lot of learning for me around that fourth line and the shocks that have come in my life through that fourth line, in the accidents and tribulations of that.
We had somebody in the chat too that has the same as you, only in the fourth house, so 34, but the sixth line in the fourth house. And she said that she's creating a course on how to unschool your kids through family travel, and talking about the outer adventure just being the catalyst for the inner adventure. That's amazing, because remember, Sagittarius is related to the ninth house, which is like education, higher education. You've got it in the fourth house, which is family. So you're like, no, sit inside of a classroom. No, you can't force me to do that. I'm not forcing my kids to do that. Let's like let them roam wild and free, like wild stallions. We'll learn from the land. That's amazing. Send me the details. That's what I'm going to be doing with my kids. So cool. It's so okay, guys. This is your revolution. This is your revolution. How are you putting this out into the world? Like, this is your innovation. You will innovate in this realm. You're going to create with this. The shocks are going to help you realize how important it is to have these things here on earth, particularly for you too, but you want it for you, so you want it for everyone. You want everyone to have that sense of freedom and independence. Right? And so probably, Bella, how do you see the 34.4 like being your revolution? Like, how are you making, like, you're claiming it for you, and then how are you are helping people claim it for themselves? Like,
Going back going back to the individual circuitry and the integration channels, it is personal empowerment that inspires others. So if I can live a life that is inspiring for others, they can tune into their Black Panther, to their uniqueness, to what's right for them, which is not going to be the same routines or non-routines that I have in my everyday life. But it's really, the more I can be true to the majesty, to the energy of the body, because the panther, at the end of the day, it is the body that's completely natural, that doesn't have any competitor in the jungle, and it can just be, it can just move, it can be in its majesty, in its naturalness, in its empowerment. And that is that often when we post the Black Panther description every year, that's where we get the most people that resonate, and it's one of the most simple descriptions. So for all of us, when we touch empowerment, personal empowerment, individual empowerment, that's something really inspiring for all of us.
Yeah. And that's what that circuitry wants, is personal, individual empowerment. And how are we utilizing, fueling that power? Where is it going towards? And it's going to flow easily and effortlessly too. It doesn't need to be forced through a shut door.
And I'm going to say one more thing in terms of human design. So if you guys look at your Uranus activation in your body graph, if you have it as a hanging gate in an open center or even in a defined center, you're going to have a lot of that energy that comes in when a transit or another person comes into your life and meet that hanging gate. So you're going to see that a lot of those shocks and accidents and quantum leaps is when that energy comes in. It doesn't have to be another person, can be one of these transits that we are speaking about, some important transits here today. However, if you have it, in my case, I have a double channel. I have 34 twice and I have 57 twice. So for me, I don't need anybody else. I'm going to create this Black Panther energy and this following my intuition or not, creating personal empowerment or disempowerment. So look at your Uranus and see, is it in a channel or not? And then you're going to know if this is just a process already happening within you, or if it's also filtering what's on the outside, and that's part of that process for you.
I'm the opposite of Bella. So I have, my Uranus is in an undefined head center, or sorry, Ajna center hanging gate. I'm looking for that 56. I'm looking for someone to light that up. Mine is 11.1, the idealist. It's in Sag, or it's a Sag gate in the 12th house. And so remember when we spoke about Sagittarius, it's like these systems, human design gene keys, fit really well with like Sagittarius. When we're looking at the houses, remember mine is a 12th house. So it says revelations about psychic abilities and the significance of the subconscious mind, gaining insights through intuition and dreams, and exploring realms beyond the physical. In a way, my exploration has been through the 64 archetypes, and the 11th gene key is very archetypal. If we look at the 11 and the 56, the 11 and the 56 are coming together. It's either an archetype or a belief, and the belief shapes the archetype, shapes the character. And there's a story that then can be articulated from that archetype. So of course, when I'm going into the realms of human design and gene keys and astrology, I want to turn it into archetypal language because I'm exploring this realm of the subconscious. And when I started to meet these archetypes, it was shocking. I was confronted. I was meeting myself, and I was meeting some beliefs that were not congruent with who I actually was. They were like, either I grew up in this way, my mom was this way, and I was like, why do I feel like I can't fit into this mold? Why do I feel like this isn't making me happy? Like, I don't want to do this. And so I had to go into my own darkness in a way too. And these archetypes, when me and Bella were contemplating about the Uranus activation, I think it was last year, it finally landed for me when I realized that the 11 was very archetypal. I'm like, of course we created the 64 archetypes because it helped us get into the subconscious. What are these inner archetypes doing? Like, how can we harmonize with them? Like, let's go into the shadow, the gift in the city. Like, I wanted to travel through the realms, the planes. I wanted to make the non-physical physical. And my Virgo, my earth activations, wanted to make them physical too. But it is for me too. It's the first line. I had to investigate. I had to build the foundation. And in a way, I had to create it. So if the first line is also about creation, like if you look at the life's work and you have a first line in your life's work, it says creator as the keynote. So the first line is about creating something new. And so that's why we created these new archetypes. And it came as a shock, right? Like a download, boom. And then me and Bella came together, boom. And then it started to get created. So yeah, but I've had to weed through a lot of untruths. This is the gate of ideas or the gate of beliefs too. And I had to identify some of these beliefs that were holding me back from my freedom and my individuality. And I had to fight many, many battles in the dark. Literally, I fought battles in my dark attic against invisible demons when I had a psychotic break, waking up to the 12th house of things. I'm like, what is this non-physical? That was my shock. All of my shocks were in the 12th house, in the spiritual realm, where I thought I lost my damn mind. And I'm like, is this real? And I had to call a Pisces friend and be like, help me. I'm losing my mind. Are these kids really my kids? Are you? Like, is this all me? What the hell's happening? So Uranus came to shock me out of the days of the mundane, because I was living the life of married at 18, 4 children, house, husband, like all that stuff. And I'm like, what the fuck? I'm not happy. Like, why am I not happy? Well, there's a lot of stuff inside me that was not being expressed. So yeah, Uranus is a crazy man, come in to like shock you. And that's where it happened for me, is in the subconscious realm. What do you notice in me, Bella? Share with me. Or like you said on your post, roast me. I'm just kidding. Don't roast me.
I mean, just that thing from what we can see is that you were okay with doing the conventional in the 6th house because that's not where you have Uranus. So for you, it could happen the way it happened in the beginning of your life. And then it was through the 12th house where that this energy of renewal, of shock came in. And then it can, from that 12th house, it can start to influence all the areas of your life. And I think, yeah, that's what we can see for you. It came in that way. Then I look at your geometry and I see that 11 in an undefined center between 2 other undefined centers. And that makes me feel into this vastness of how you're able to play with archetypes and all the ideas of the 11, and also that geometry that you have in your ajna with the 17 and the 11. So it's the abstract and the logical, it's all the patterns, it's being able to zoom in and zoom out with these archetypes. Yes, you can take on the costume, you can play with them, it becomes so real, it's all in reality, but you also can take them off. This is the way, the method of doing it, and having that balance between the abstract and the logical in your ajna, which is how we are working. And creating the 64 doors was a little bit more of that method of like, okay, we have to get this done, we have to make it look similar on the website, a little bit of that process of the 1762 of translating all this. And what we are exploring now is more of like, okay, how can we be on stage as the comedian, as the 56 with these archetypes? How are these ideas becoming anchored, these archetypes becoming anchored? And just in the last few weeks, we've had so many people contacting us from faraway lands, from Mexico, from Peru, from other places here in the States. They want to collaborate with the archetypes and want to make them come alive or add something that they are doing so that we can translate them in a different way. So that is also the beauty of having that open or undefined ajna, where there is place for people to come in on the other side of the 11 and to play with you. And that is going to define your ajna and your throat. So for a moment, you're going to have a more consistent way of expressing this rebellious energy until that person goes out and a transit comes in, and it's going to be expressed in a different way, in a different line. So for you, there's so much potential and so many possibilities of how to live out this energy, but it kind of starts with you in the first line being anchored in yourself, because we already saw from your story, if you're not anchored in yourself, you could get quite crazy when you have the vast of all the demons and all the
I put on all the different costumes. I'm like, oh, wait a second, why am I wearing your costume? Why am I in your story?
Exactly.
And then I take
and
it
then
off.
all the whole thing from darkness, from obscurity to light, and all these archetypes are there ready to play with you. So if you're not anchored in yourself first, then it can be very confusing and like a little bit crazy.
Yeah. Fascinating. Uranus is fascinating. So we have 2 invitations for you. Remember previously, Bella said that she went and searched up and said, oh, Uranus was discovered in the transit of the 22, and we called it the invitation. So before we knew that, we kind of created these invitations to innovation for you. And so first we want to share our innovation, and then we have an innovation that we want you to partake in, and it's kind of like a challenge. So if you participate, you might get, or maybe everyone gets, like a month in the inner circle. So depending on how full out you play and share your revolution with us, we're going to let you come in to our innovation. So this is your invitation to our innovation. Last year we did something called the setup. This was a 12-month roadmap. So you went through all the zodiac signs. And now we're in Aquarius. So this is Aquarius season. So we've created a roadmap to Aquarius season. Way more goes into Aquarius season than just Uranus. And we brought you some stuff around your Uranus activation. We also go into Aquarius in this roadmap, and we go into the 11th house more deeply. So we have all of the pieces of what it is to be in Aquarius season. We give you practical ways to take initiative during this season, and we have a declaration of intent and some ways to play with the archetypes as well, because we do give you a PDF within it. Did you want to say anything else about the setup that maybe I forgot?
Yeah, if you feel like you want to learn foundational astrology, which is you get the language and the geometry and understanding of the 12 houses, the 12 signs, and the 9 planets, plus Chiron, then that is the place to go. Then you should have the whole thing, because every month we have a house and a sign, and then the rulers of the house and the sign are going to be coming back a few times because there were 9 planets. But it's really a fun way and a practical way of learning foundational astrology. And we're doing it with the energy, which is more and more what Ash and I are guided to. Actually, last year we had planned to do them before we started a new sign. And if we did it a week before, it was like so off. We're not in the energy yet. So when we started like now we're doing this as we are in Aquarius energy. We are in Uranus going direct in a couple of days. Like we're so much in this energy. So it's so easy to be here with you. People are in the chat. People are activated. So really to use the year to do these welcome calls or initiation calls with you. And then for those of you that want to go deeper in having that geometry, the language, the understanding of foundation astrology, then the setup is the way to learn that language.
Yeah. So you can do self-study. The setup has already been created. It's eternal. You can use it every time Aquarius season shows up. Hopefully it doesn't sneak up on you. Hopefully you're aware of when it begins, because you're getting to know and investigate all of these. This is also the focus of the Inner Circle membership that we have been mentioning a lot recently. And we are diving into Aquarius season. So this is now included in your Inner Circle membership. But if you don't want to commit to a membership, you can just get the setup to Aquarius season, or you can get the whole bundle of all 12 roadmaps. And you can do that on your own in your own time. But if you are longing for
knowing
community,
it's a living course, so we are going to put things in there that we're doing this year and next year. So if you get the Inner Circle, you get the things as you are part of the Inner Circle. If you get the lifetime access, the living course that is going to have, as long as we're going around the wheel, more things in that lifetime access because you bought the whole thing.
Yeah, you're invited to the live things. And then if you have the course, you will get the replays. Like the replay for this will be in there. Bella's doing a Q&A and chart interpretations in the Inner Circle. That will go in there as well as Aquarius season archetype workshop with me. And these are some ways that we're innovating in the Aquarian energy. So feel free to join the Inner Circle if you use the code FRIEND, because we're in Aquarius season and Aquarius is about community and friendship. So if you use the code FRIEND, you get $20 off your first month. Then it goes to $64 a month. Or you can still use the code ASPIRE to get $150 off the year, and you can spend a year with us and you'll get all the zodiac seasons, and we'll make our way around the zodiac wheel together. But if you want to be a rebel loner, do that. And that's fine. I don't need you anyways. No, I'm just kidding. What did it say? Join the revolution, or come with who's coming with me. And then if you don't, I'll just go anyways. But I love you. Please come if you want. And then, yeah, this is more about the Inner Circle, but you can see, I'm going to share this, and then I'll share. That's the Inner Circle. The last one is the link to the Inner Circle. The top one is going to be your invitation to innovation. So you can step into Aquarius season with us. If you want to take initiative, we've got an invitation for you. So remember how we spoke about your Uranus activation? Well, we put together a brief little PDF. It's to help you explore your Uranus archetype. Once you explore your Uranus archetype and you understand what's the house, what's the zodiac sign, what's the archetype, there's links to the 64 doors, so you can see, oh, my archetype is the father, 40. I'm going to click on it and I'm going to go learn about it on the 64 doors, or I'm going to read the Gene Key chapter. I want you to look at this through the lens of, how is this my revolution? How is this my uniqueness? And then in Aquarian energy, I want you to innovate with it. I want you to play with that archetype. So how can you show us what your revolution is? How can you show us your Uranus energy? That could be creating a piece of art, choreographing a dance routine to music, interpretive dance, monologue, poem, spoken word, styling an outfit. You can dress up like that archetype. You can write like a campaign where you're like, join the revolution, and here's what it's about. Whatever you want to do, we want to see you getting creative with this archetype and innovating with it so that we can see it in action. So this is you playing with the archetype, putting on the costume and sharing with us, what does that look like? And you can make it as big or small as you want. It doesn't matter. If you have Uranus and Leo, you better entertain me, like you Leos. Like, I want to see you on stage. I want to see you acting. I want to see you in play. Just kidding. No pressure. Mary, I know that you have Leo, Uranus and Leo. So those one won't see from you. And for those of you that are already in the inner circle, we would love for you to do this too. It's your invitation to innovation. And there is a post that I just posted in our Gene Keys and Human Design Facebook page right before we got on. And we can put the link on the replay page that you have where you can submit your initiative, your innovation. You can also at Unlock Your Design us on Instagram. So just tag us somehow. And that way we can see that you took initiative and that you are innovating with your Uranus activation. And please do that by this Sunday. And we'll be notifying the winners that Monday.
Okay. So thank you, Ashley. I love it. I just put the group because it's a group that's private. So even if you have 13,000 people, you might not be part of it. So in the chat right now, you have the Facebook group. When you go into the Facebook group, if we haven't pinned that post yet, we will pin it on top. Even if you do a reel or reels on Facebook or Instagram and you tag us, please go to the little arrow that says share link, copy the link and put it in the thread. Because if everything can be on that one post that is featured, pinned on the top of the Facebook group, that is the best way for us to see everything. And it's the most fun way for those of you that are playing with this too, to be able to see everything in one place. So join the group. If you aren't accepted yet, I'll go in and accept you and then post whatever you create. Still tag us on Instagram and in whatever reel, but also put the link to the reels or the carousel, whatever you're doing in the thread.
Yeah.
And they only have why do they only have to Sunday? Because
I don't know. Because we're already in Aquarius season. And if I give you too long, you guys aren't going to do it. So just do it by Sunday and don't ask questions.
Okay. Sounds good.
I'm feeling a little spicy. I want it and I want it now. I don't know what that comes from inside of me, but I want it and I want it now. I think I've been wanting this to happen for a really long time. I'm like, can you act out the archetype? I want to see you act out the archetype. And maybe I'll act out the archetype too. But you can also go to the 64 Doors website and see all the archetypes that we did create, which was our innovation. And you can use your power and life force don't force it. I guess I'm saying act out the archetypes, and Bella's archetypes also saying, don't force it. Don't force it. See what wants to come through you. See what wants to move through you. Don't make it a mental exercise. Make it a body exercise. Let it express through your being and whatever you need to do to access that. And you will be rewarded. We will reward you. Okay, so this is going on the replay page. I'm going to put, again, the invitation to innovation on there, and we'll make sure the link to the Facebook thread. And like Bella was saying, put it inside of the thread. Don't make a new post, right? We're not making new posts.
No.
We're putting it in the thread.
I pinned the post, so it's going to be like whenever you refresh the page of the group that is called Gene Keys and Human Design, it's going to be the first featured post. So when you start scrolling in the group, it's going to say featured. And that's where it's going to say Uranus Unleashed. It's the same graphic that we used for the webinar. And then, or maybe it's not, I think I did the wrong one. No, it's here.
You did it? Because I created a post too.
No, I pinned your post, but it says an hour ago. That's why I was confused.
I did it. I did it right before we went.
Okay, so we are fine. So the post is already pinned. It says Uranus Unleashed. It's the same thing that we have used before, so you recognize it. So yeah, in that thread, in any way you can, link or upload the thing that you create. And that's the thread where we're going to go to wherever we need to go to see your submission. Yeah. And hopefully we don't have two answers. But if we have, I think, then you're with us in some kind of way for sure.
Okay. Thank you for today and welcome to Aquarius season. And I hope that this was enriching and fun. And I really do hope that you will accept our invitation to innovation. But if you don't, that's okay. This was your call to adventure and you're allowed to say no. And we respect that. And thank you for coming in this way. And hopefully at some point we knock on your door and you're like, I'm ready. I'm ready to join. We're going to keep showing up every month. So we'll see you next month too. Thank you. Bye.